All right, we're on with Branefood Roundtable number 5. Today's topic, I lost the link. Today's topic is the mind control grid in the media. I'm sure somebody has something to say about that. By the way, don't let any of your kids in the room. I still can't control Ken. All right, let's open it up.
Ken is a gross old man.
And proud of it.
That was so random. Alright, so who wants to start off with this?
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, topic of today's conversation is...
Hey, Fox. And music.
Topic of today's conversation perhaps should pertain to hack attacks on Israel, go anonymous, rock on lolsec, or maybe perhaps moving forward, where does it all go? Obviously, there will never be an accurate answer to such a question, and anyone who proposes one is a liar, but we can always speculate and say, I believe this will happen. Ken, Charlie, Greg, Dylan?
Yes.
Well, belief is that key point, isn't it? At the end of the day, all the mind control of the world stage, and believe you me, it is a world stage, is all down to belief, whether you believe they're hype or not. It's very difficult these days to understand what the truth is. To be honest, most of us have come to the conclusion there's so much lies out there that there is no real truth anymore, and it's just down to literally survival. It's that hard at times these days.
Absolutely.
I believe there is an absolute truth. And I believe that we can't know anything, we can only believe. And we can only believe on the evidence that's presented to us, or that we look for.
That's correct. I mean, I get called a wizard, and that's just because a lot of times I call myself a wizard. And other people started to call me a wizard, but by the same token, I just want to clarify something. I'm not, and I will not, or ever will be an expert or an authority on anything. I'm too smart for that. I know I don't know, and I never will.
And even if there is an ultimate truth, you know, we might not actually live long enough to ever know it. We might not be physically capable of ever knowing it. And at the same time, who says that we have to believe? Isn't that actually us telling us to make a choice? You have to believe. Who says?
That's only told you have to believe.
Yeah.
I don't believe that I have to believe, I just believe.
No, I wasn't talking you, Charlie. I meant like as in the governments and the schools and the laws and all that. You know, we are told to believe that they have authority, this, that and the other. We're told what to believe by the mainstream media. We don't get a choice, we're told.
It comes down to indoctrination. Right from day one, right from the first day you go to school, it starts.
Yep, I can vouch for that.
I think we all can.
Well, can anyone say awkward silence?
Awkward silence.
Awkward silence.
Now, why don't we get that in Congress enough? You know, that awkward silence would be an amazing thing to see happening in Congress and Parliament and all that. Them not knowing what to do for a change, that would be beautiful.
Oh, they don't. That's the problem. Oh,
They don't stop to think.
Well, plus there's that old saying, too many cooks spoil the broth. At the end of the day, you've got a power structure that's based around people wanting to get to the top of the pyramid. So you've got all these entities, these nasty ones, trying to like take the top of the pyramid. So they're all going to be like trying to outthink each other, outmaneuver each other, and all the rest of it to become top of the hill. So it's bound to get crazier before it gets better.
I don't think we've gotten to the point where it's even close to getting better.
Well, I'd say it started.
It started, but we're not at a point where it will get better anytime soon.
Well, I don't know about that. I think we're literally on the knife's edge. It's either going to fall one way or the other, and I think it's going to be soon.
Yeah, but you can't. I mean, everything kind of goes in cycles, and you got to when things are bad, you kind of got to expect they're going to get good. Where else are they going to go?
Whoa. What the? Alright, who was that?
That was just a little bit of troll.
I think he needed the restroom.
That hurt my...
He flushed his computer down the toilet.
Well, did my pump start making a few noises?
Oh, was that your pump? I thought it was your pacemaker. Thank God.
Scared, knocked us all off our chairs.
Yeah, all of a sudden I thought it was my computer exploding.
Oh, you are aware you're aware you have a mute button, right?
Yes.
Oh.
I was up the other end of the building. I couldn't actually do anything about it. The pump started before I got back here.
Oh, Rob still can't find his mute
I
button.
thought it was your water pipe. Oh, I see.
I don't have one of those.
Well, maybe you should get one. You want me? You don't got them in there, or what? Everybody should have a water pipe.
So, Ken, what do you think about what we're discussing?
What are we discussing?
I'm willing to let you guys continue until I get a little bit fired up. Might take me a minute.
Oh man, now I wish I got Rob in here.
Nobody's actually sparked Ken's interest at this point.
No, I'm just listening. I can listen. Come on.
Oh, it's amazing.
All right, let's talk about the techniques they use then. I mean, from the very start, you got the basic frequency of planet Earth being 7.83 hertz, and at the same time they find out that the alpha waves of the human brain are at 7.83 hertz. So, is it from that point they realised they had control of something then?
Well, how would they have measured those sorts of things back then?
Well, that's just it. If they've been hiding technology throughout the centuries...
I wonder if we could fool them and change our frequency. Aha, we could get our own little personal frequency changers and change our own frequency so that, like, even smoking marijuana, I think, helps.
I think thinking outside the box helps.
Yep, I mean, we was talking about eyes earlier. When you look at the TVs, the way the TVs have changed throughout the centuries, to be able to give you more pixels, more colour, more information. In the past, you could actually almost see the subliminal messages in the background. Nowadays, they're so advanced that you can't really see them.
Well, I think where I get this idea from is when I went to some hypnotists in the past. I went to 2 different hypnotists in the past, they couldn't hypnotize me because I smoked marijuana. And I'm thinking, well, it's got to work similar with subliminal messaging and mind control stuff, I would think.
It may.
that'll be when my wife went to a hypnotist recently to help her stop smoking weed. It didn't work. It worked for the cigarettes. She doesn't smoke cigarettes anymore, but when she went back to try and see if the guy could hypnotise her into giving up smoking weed, it didn't work.
Well, both hypnotists, when I went to them, told me right straight out to my face. And I even had a friend that was a bartender that was a hypnotist. He told me the same thing. You can't hypnotize somebody when they're a pot smoker, when they're a regular pot user. Even, not just pot either, other drugs as well. But and the fact that I'm so rebellious and ignorant to the mind control that seems to be going on around me, I'm living evidence of it, I guess.
And there's another thing that you just brought up there, which is quite interesting. Imagine all the different chemicals they've got to be able to stick in us to make us more susceptible to like their ideas and their methods and all the rest of it. I mean, so many more of us should be affected by all those drugs, but
Well,
we're
it kind of
not because, you know, like you said, perhaps because enough of us do that enough of us are awake.
Well, yeah, and perhaps that's why they've been so adamant about making sure it was illegal all this time, is because they knew if people started smoking pot, they'd wake up. They wouldn't be under the mind control that they've been using for a long time, not just with frequencies and stuff. They've been doing it in other ways, manipulation, hypnotism, and stuff for a long time.
Well, they were saying that certain chemicals fit into certain structures within the human brain, and they're specific to the point that there's certain receptors in the brain that are specifically for cannabinoids. So it leads you to wonder whether some of these chemicals can't actually affect you if your brain chemical receptors are full up. So would it make you invulnerable to certain types of chemical attacks?
Maybe. Definitely not putting anything aside as crazy.
Well, the fact is, if everybody ate what the Creator intended us to eat, none of it, they wouldn't get away with any of this shit.
And what are we intended to eat? Cheetos and things of that nature? Because that's kind of interesting to me.
Big cheeseburgers and stuff, I think. By the way, how are those sitting with you?
It calls that stuff food. That's not food. It's poison.
What do you eat, Charlie?
Raw fruit, vegetables, nuts, grains, and seeds.
Bark, twigs, and berries.
Exactly what we were designed to eat.
I eat some dead animals too.
Cheetos are just poisons that taste good, and quite frankly, Cheetos don't even taste good. And as far as the whole chemical attack thing goes, psychotropics. Think about that. Trying to get everybody on psychotropics, weaken our minds to the, stuff that you guys are talking about.
Next subject, Dylan.
I need a fucking chair.
Well, Rob said that would cover an hour.
Shit, Jason.
Yeah, right. You can't. Never mind. Here, I'll keep it going. Pharmaceutical industry, psychotropics, stimulants, giving label ADHD to children under the age of 5, getting them hooked on pharmaceutical amphetamines. It's quite sad, actually. I know from personal experience.
We've probably worn ourselves out a bit on most of that subject, really, haven't we, over the weeks?
Probably.
This is very
But the
scripted.
fact of the matter is it's happening. I mean, even the Bible says that it's all about good and evil. It's about Satan being the god of this world, and how it's all based on lies. He is the liar and the father of them. It's it certainly does seem that that's the case, because there's a number of subjects that I've looked into where I believed I knew stuff, where I believed that I knew this and that and the other about different subjects, and now people have a go at me about the way I'm so negative that I see that nothing's the way they tell us it is, and I don't think I'm making any mistake there. I think it's an absolute fact that everything I look at, our medical system's about killing us, our financial system's about robbing us, our health system's about killing us as well as our food. I thought I just said that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Well, to add
Memory book.
on
in
the
school
chemical side of
system,
things,
what's the school system about? Just making us dumber.
Yeah.
and robots, and
Yeah,
how to
look at what
actually
it did.
follow orders.
Look at what it did to me.
But I'd like to interject about the chemicals. I mean, Charlie was saying about the medical side of it meant to kill us and all the rest of it. Well, for eons now, with the medicines that they've been chucking out, there's always been side effects to every single medicine. And there's no realistic, hardcore cures for anything serious.
I don't.
Even though it's been all these years, but at the same time, with the amount of money that's gone into the research and development of all these drugs, has anyone never wondered why over all these years there are now no side effects on pills? Why have they never taken away all the side effects? Why haven't they done the research into making it all...
I've never, I hate to say this, but I've never agreed with Charlie Moore, but he made one mistake. The medical community doesn't want you dead, but it doesn't want you healthy. It wants you sick.
Exactly, that's what I meant. I didn't mean it was just
I
about
don't
killing
think
us.
you want to call these.
Killing us slowly.
I don't think you want to call them side effects, because there are the straight effects of taking these medications. Think about it like this: you give somebody Ritalin, they lose their head and have to take antipsychotics. They lose their mood and have to take mood stabilizers. And after a while, their face starts to drip due to the dystonic reaction of taking all these medications. And conveniently enough, there's a medication for the dystonic side effect of taking antipsychotics, which is called cogentin. So, and then after all of this, you're having a real hard time sleeping with all these chemicals pumping through your brain, So, take a sleeping pill. The side effect of which, of course, is an inability to sleep. Suicidal tendencies. Here come the antidepressants. Fascinating cycle, isn't it?
I think you make a good point there, Foxy, in as much as there is no such thing as side effects. There are only effects. They've tried to convince people that side effects are somehow not as powerful, not as damaging, or not as dangerous as effects.
Plus, they're intended. Like the side effect of SSRIs is suicidal tendencies and ideation. Well, that's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is just like how you said, Norm, one leads to the other leads to the other. And we know the whole reason of why coming away from the homeopathic remedies and the natural remedies is because you eat a lemon to stop scurvy. What's the side effects? Lemon breath. Whoop-de-doo.
But that's the effect to that regard.
Wow, it's all the corporations and follow the money. It just all turns back into the money.
Yeah, that's where everything goes.
If you follow the money, it all goes to the same place. I don't know, you can take any conversation you want to talk about and then follow the money, and guess where you're going to end up.
It's really elaborate. It really is. I mean, never mind. Sucks.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, it is.
But that's why we've all got to stop being machines in their machine world. Thinking with machine minds and machine hearts.
Oh, I love it. I love that. I love that reference. That was a great speech.
We are men. We are not hated. We are loved.
Don't make me play that speech.
Please don't. Please don't, Fox.
I'll just send y'all a link to it. It's very cool.
It is. Charlie Chaplin.
I've used that on my show a couple times.
Yeah, we listened to it today. I've heard
It's
it.
a good one, but
Everybody
the best one I've ever heard is that young girl that was at the United Nations, 12-year-old girl. Her speech just blew me out the freaking water. That was unbelievable.
I kind of like what Makata in Hawaii when he was
Makana.
when he played that song. That was pretty good too.
Yeah, that is a good song. The
Yeah.
fact that he actually played it in front of the president and loads of the top dignitaries for like 45 minutes, thought he was going to get thrown off stage
Wait,
because
what
of the
was the song?
words, and he gets told to do an encore. That was crazy.
Yeah, have you guys heard that song?
What is it called?
What is it?
Type in Makana, M-A-K-A-N-A, and it'll probably be the top story.
And he's probably got a couple. You'll see it up there. What's the song called? I forget now. We Are the People? No. Damn, I can't remember. I haven't heard it for a while. I got it on my YouTube video favorites, but
We Are the Many. We Are the Many by
Yeah.
Makana.
yeah, that's it. We Are the Many by Makana. It's quite the story, and man, it's a good song. And he, like I say, he played it right in front of the president and a lot of top brass.
Alright, so, Ken, have we sparked your interest yet?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm just listening, guys. I'm just listening. Go ahead, keep on trucking, man. Gee whiz.
Well, we want to try to get everyone in.
Well, I just chucked you a link there in the description of the best speech ever by that 12-year-old girl at the United Nations.
Do you want me to play that speech?
That's up to you, dude.
Alright, let's get it up.
Hello, I'm Severin Suzuki speaking for ECHO, the Environmental Children's Organization. We're a group of 12 and 13-year-olds trying to make a difference. Vanessa Seti, Morgan Geisler, Michelle Quigg, and me. We've raised all the money to come here ourselves, to come 5,000 miles to tell you adults you must change your ways. Coming up here today, I have no hidden agenda. I am fighting for my future. Losing my future is not like losing an election or a few points on the stock market. I am here to speak for all generations to come. I am here to speak on behalf of the starving children around the world whose cries go unheard. I am here to speak for the countless animals dying across this planet because they have nowhere left to go. I am afraid to go out in the sun now because of the holes in our ozone. I am afraid to breathe the air because I don't know what chemicals are in it. I used to go fishing in Vancouver, my home, with my dad, until just a few years ago we found the fish full of cancers. And now we hear of animals and plants going extinct, every day vanishing forever. In my life, I have dreamt of seeing the great herds of wild animals, jungles and rainforests, full of birds and butterflies. But now I wonder if they will even exist for my children to see. Did you have to worry of these things when you were my age? All this is happening before our eyes, and yet we act as if we have all the time we want and all the solutions. I'm only a child, and I don't have all the solutions. But I want you to realize, neither do you. You don't know how to fix the holes in our ozone layer. You don't know how to bring the salmon back up a dead stream. You don't know how to bring back an animal now extinct. And you can't bring back the forest that once grew where there is now a desert. If you don't know how to fix it, please stop breaking it. Here, you may be delegates of your government, business people, organizers, reporters, or politicians. But really, your mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, aunts and uncles, and all of you are someone's child. I'm only a child, yet I know we are all part of a family, 5 billion strong. In fact, 30 million species strong. And borders and governments will never change that. I'm only a child, yet I know we are all in this together and should act as one single world towards one single goal. In my anger, I am not blind, and in my fear, I am not afraid of telling the world how I feel. In my country, we make so much waste. We buy and throw away, and yet northern countries will not share with the needy. Even when we have more than enough, we are afraid to share. We are afraid to let go of some of our wealth. In Canada, we live the privileged life, with plenty of food, water, and shelter. We have watches, bicycles, computers, and television sets. The list could go on for 2 days. 2 days ago, here in Brazil, we were shocked when we spent time with some children living on the streets. This is what one child told us. I wish I was rich. And if I were, I would give all the street children food, clothes, medicines, shelter, and love and affection. If a child on the streets who has nothing is willing to share, why are we who have everything still so greedy? I can't stop thinking that these are children my own age, that it makes a tremendous difference where you are born. That I could be one of those children living in the favelas in Rio. I could be a child starving in Somalia, or a victim of war in the Middle East, or a beggar in India. I am only a child, yet I know if all the money spent on war was spent on finding environmental answers, ending poverty, and finding treaties, what a wonderful place this earth would be. At school, even in kindergarten, you teach us how to behave in the world. You teach us not to fight with others, to work things out, to respect others, to clean up our mess, not to hurt other creatures, to share, not be greedy. Then why do you go out and do the things you tell us not to do? Do not forget why you are attending these conferences, who you're doing this for. We are your own children. You are deciding what kind of world you're growing up in. Parents should be able to comfort their children by saying, everything's going to be all right. It's not the end of the world, and we're doing the best we can. But I don't think you can say that to us anymore. Are we even on your list of priorities? My dad always says, you are what you do, not what you say. Well, what you do makes me cry at night. You grown-ups say you love us, but I challenge you, please, make your actions reflect your words. Thank you.
So, that's the end of the video. What do you guys think?
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Best message I ever heard. Straight from the heart, straight from the mouths of children. Complete sense, complete moral. Just beautiful.
Yeah, it was excellent. Other than mentioning controlling the weather, but
Oh, we know they can do that.
no, she just suggested that they should almost at one point, but that's okay.
I didn't get.
I think they should control the weather, but they're doing it the wrong way.
Not these people. They shouldn't.
Well, that's assuming that those controlling the weather can be trusted to so much as zip up their pants without causing some level of corruption.
Yep, the weather was fine before they started messing with it.
Oh, come on.
Nature was doing its job the way it's supposed to, so they should stop messing. Like she said, they don't know how to fix all the crap they're messing with, so stop breaking it all.
Well, at least there's one more kid in my generation with sense.
Yay, Generation Z!
Yay.
Dude, I don't know what you're hearing, but our generation's probably the most awake and aware from what I've observed.
Really?
Dude, I've traveled the United States and the rest of the world. I have yet to meet, at least now, somebody my age who doesn't have a pretty good, at least, idea as to what's going on, and if not fully, what is going on, and how to deal with it, at least in theory. Nobody really knows how to deal with it.
What are some of the ideas you're hearing about, or ideas to deal with it from your generation?
Well, if I could pull up an example, but my idea is pretty simple. For all the complicated BS conspiracy theory, truth is, you get rid of the few and the far between that run things, and those complacent, it should be dealt with afterwards, but most importantly the ones who really are, not the government, not Obama, because they're not really in charge as much as people want you to think they are.
They're not in charge at all.
Of course, most importantly, you must do so either peacefully or violently. Either way, it has to be dealt with. It's a matter of self-preservation at this point. Rid us of the swine from our society.
We've talked about this quite a bit, Stone. How do you remove them when a new head keeps growing back?
Oh, the new head keeps growing out because it's like a corporation. The trick is...
Oh, you got to spread out. I mean, we're doing it, and don't worry about it. It's happening. It's just my only worry is that at some point it's going to have to move very quickly, because we can take down I think we've done a pretty good job with Monsanto. We're working on other angles of taking down different heads of the Medusa. You got to just keep working on them. There's factions working on the oil companies and stuff, and you just keep working on them Just keep working on them, and more people are waking up. Don't worry about
You know what? The thing is, if it's not resolved soon, and I think.
Well, we're coming close to what's called critical. We're coming close to critical mass. We're coming close to critical mass, and I don't know. Some people say critical mass is right around the corner, but I don't know if that's true. But we are coming close to critical mass, and once we reach critical mass, then it's done. Then they're done. So that's what we're after is critical mass.
Well, Stone, critical mass is the tipping point. That's when the blade falls. You just gotta figure out which way. It could fall in the completely wrong direction, and we could have to go the violent route that Fox was speaking of.
Well, the problem is that nobody's going to do either until things get bad enough.
Exactly.
American society is an example of this. As long as people are eating and living relatively, it's not like we're in Egypt where if we didn't act, we would starve. But I think like Jim Lee said, my generation's going to burn this motherfucker to the ground if something's not changed soon. And I have no doubt that in a state of chaos, I included, would burn this motherfucker to the ground.
Well, I think the logic of not aiming for one of the Medusa's heads as such is a very clever idea because, like basically said, just another one grows straight after. So realistically, we all have to attack every head of the Medusa at once, constantly, and hope that we can get enough change happening in this world before critical mass happens.
Have you all seen Fight Club? You remember the ending scene, right?
I've never seen it, so please
man.
don't spoil it.
Okay. Well, for those who have seen Fight Club, when this music starts to play, Pixies, Where Is My Mind, that is the solution. And I'm sorry to put it like that, but it truly is.
Well, I haven't seen it. I'll watch it eventually. So, Charlie or Ken, do either of you have anything to comment?
Not at the current time. Keep on trucking. You guys got it.
What did you think of that girl's video then? Because that was quite a few years ago. She's a grown woman with children of her own now.
Honestly, I thought it was a bunch of tripe.
Really?
I thought it was Yeah, I thought it was worthless. You could tell she was put up to it by adults.
Ken, you are sorry excuse for an individual.
No, seriously, the adults put up these children to say things. It's foolishness. Come on.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, but... Oh, for Christ's sakes. It's not like she thought this shit up. She was coached and told to do this by her parents. She had no fucking idea of what she was saying as she was saying it. You can see that, can't you?
No.
Yeah, sorry. Obviously, it was written.
She might have been coached.
Might have been, so therefore it
loses
loses all of its authenticity. It loses all of its authenticity when you do that.
But the message is still good.
For God's sakes, you didn't find it to be just a little bit manufactured?
Hey, we're all
that
manufactured by our parents.
Isn't that a
we are
bit
what
insulting?
we are grown to become.
You don't find that a bit insulting to your intelligence?
I find your trash can of an attitude to be an insult to my intelligence.
I'm just telling you the truth. I mean, it was all manufactured. It was baloney. Stop it, you know? Quit worshiping at this phony altar. It's foolishness. Really, I'm serious.
What phony altar? I mean, all the words that she said there were not only
they were not her
common
words.
Sense.
They were not her words.
It doesn't matter.
It was her
parents.
It was her parents using her. Come on, man.
Where is your
saying stuff that you agreed with, and that's the only reason you allowed. That's the only reason that you allow the falsehood to continue.
Hey, you do realize perhaps maybe the reason why they put her up.
I think it's great she's listening.
To be made by a child.
If she's listening to her parents, well, then her parents are right, and I think that's great because that means she's not listening to her school teachers, which is also great. So she's not mindful.
She made the whole speech for an ice cream cone. She was told to read it for an ice cream cone. Give it a break, guys.
Oh shit, dude.
So what? She was right. Whether she said it from the heart or said it because her parents told her to, it doesn't matter. The words
you don't have any
problem
with the kid being manipulated in this way.
Not if the words were right.
What was said, objectively speaking, how was what she said a bad thing? Just to that regard, that it was.
I have very little respect for people who are going to use children to get their message across.
Never was a message correct.
That's not the point.
That is the point. If the message was wrong, then we'd understand where you was coming from, and we would accept what you're saying. But because the message was correct
and so phony,
she's what, 19 years old? I think she's not a child.
No, she was 12 in that.
Yeah, come on, guys. You don't see anything wrong with that?
12 years old. Well, that's not too young.
So, Ken, what if her parent said to her, you know, we'd like you to do this, would you be willing to? And she said yes. In other words, she made her own personal choice because they allowed her to have personal choice to do it or not, and she said yes. Would that make a difference to your belief?
I'll take that pocket veto as a no.
Ken, did your Skype blow up again?
No.
But you just can't respond because Busby is correct.
You know, you don't see anything. You know, this is old. It's manufactured. It's played out where parents or other adults are using the children to get their message across or to say some trite BS, for lack of a better word.
So you don't agree with the message?
Not when it's delivered in that manner. I sure don't. I sure don't. It's weak. It's lame.
Ken, have you ever heard the phrase "Don't shoot the messenger"?
Hey, that's not a good point.
Yeah, I've heard that, of course.
Well, maybe
I didn't shoot anybody yet.
Well,
but I'm just telling you, you know, just for heaven's sakes, you know, the parents should have worked up the stones to give the message themselves.
Well, maybe it sounds better coming across from a kid showing that there is some common sense.
It sounds fake and phony.
And because you weren't actually there to actually watch this whole thing happen between the family, you don't know if the parents were going to do it, but because they involved her in it, she volunteered to do it instead of them. Worried for their parents' safety.
They used their 12-year-old kid. For heaven's sakes, move on to a different subject.
You're hypothesizing because you don't know. You're saying that they used. You don't know that they used. She might have volunteered to do it. She might have done it off her own back.
The only reason that you're overlooking the fake and phoniness of the message is because you agree with it. Do you see? You see, you agree with the message, therefore you're inclined to overlook the fakeness and the phoniness behind it. All right?
But Ken,
at least be honest enough to admit that to yourselves.
Ken, let's go off of your assumption that she was being used. Okay? So, do you agree with the message, forgetting who delivered it?
I think there was a bit of truth to it, yes.
Okay, so if there was truth to it, and people agree with it, and maybe it woke some people up, and it doesn't matter, if that did good, if that was a good thing.
So you're saying that the end justifies the means?
Not always.
For heaven's sakes.
I'm saying, is there an injured party?
I'm saying that your intelligence should be insulted. You should be the injured party.
I wasn't done any harm. I have no way of pointing out any harm that that girl's done in what she did there.
Yeah, plus you haven't actually
Inspired a
pointed
lot of
out
kids in their generation.
what the insult was.
Well,
what was the insult? Because I didn't hear any insult.
Yeah, you see, what Ken is saying is, hi group, I am a piece of fecal matter at the bottom of Box's toilet.
No, I wasn't exactly saying that. I wasn't exactly going that far, but you don't see anything wrong with using a child to get out what's really an adult message.
You're being cynical. You didn't actually.
No, I'm not being cynical. I'm being as honest as I can be.
You didn't actually put any evidence forth.
Maybe it was actually
your belief in that.
Maybe she was a badass, and she went and ripped up some old lady's garden or something, and this was her punishment. I don't know.
And I don't see that girl being.
The child was being used.
Ken.
I don't see her being forced into doing anything at all. I think she got up there voluntarily.
The fact that we're having this argument is validation that this is why things don't change, because there's really no point. We're not arguing in favor of that what was said, which is valid, only whether it was valid in the sense, did the parents make her or did the parents not? Who the fuck really cares?
Either way, those were not her thoughts.
Who really cares, man?
She was put up there. She was no more involved in the process of writing that speech than if I put my hand in a sock and made a sock puppet and mouthed those same words. Would you be fawning over that sock puppet also?
The thing about this is going to make the change that needs to be seen in regards to the speech that was made, whether it's artificial or official.
Hey Ken, I have a question for you. I have a question for you, Ken.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any proof for your statements?
Absolutely none.
He's a truther. He's making shit up. That's what they do.
Well, no, I'm looking deeper than the surface. The message resonated with you guys, so you're willing to overlook the fakeness and the phoniness behind it.
It's really.
And you don't see. You don't see the truth. You don't find that a little bit disingenuous?
It's completely irrelevant. It's why things aren't changing, because you're trying to find out, oh, did the parents put her up to it or not? It's really irrelevant when the message is valid. Now, do we act on that message or not?
I'm not.
Well,
Simply
then
because I don't
You're not.
I guess so.
You're not going to act on a message simply because you do not like the delivery of it?
Exactly. That's bloody terrible.
Because it was delivered in a fake, phony, and false manner.
So if some mother saw you crossing the street and she knew that her 10-year-old son had a really loud voice and said, quick, tell that guy to get out of the way of that bus, and he shouts out, get out of the way of that bus, you twat, you're not going to get out of the way of the bus because he delivered it badly to you.
Do you see how ridiculous your analogy is?
Oh, it's perfect.
You're trying to take a deep-seated political message delivered by a 12-year-old when you know flat well that she didn't design it, she didn't think it, she had really nothing to do with the putting together of this.
No,
message.
I do not know that, Ken, because I do not presume. I do not know that because I do not know the facts around the case. I do not know her parents, whether they talked her into it, whether she did it off her own back, whether she was part of it. I don't know. Therefore, I don't care how the message was given. I just care about the message. The message was bloody good, common sense, and I liked it.
And the presentation was like a decent 8.
So, and by the way, Ken, I think that analogy was actually pretty accurate on Buzz's part.
No, not really.
No, it was right. It was right.
Here's what I want you guys to do. And this is in all seriousness. You'll see that this happens quite a bit. You'll see that whenever there's a political point to be made, you'll see parents will stand their children up, and you'll see that they will coach them into doing into the craziest political positions, delivering these speeches. And the real crux of it is you're supposed to be thinking this way because of the children.
Well, isn't that a good
And
thing that people are going to be thinking in terms of what this kid said? I mean, isn't that kind of, even though it's a bad approach in your opinion, isn't it an effective one if in terms of what she said? If the message is valid anyway, and we can all agree on it, it's kind of like
you don't see a problem with that. That's
No,
kind of
Jimmy,
disturbing. I find that really disturbing that you guys don't have a problem with the parents, using their child to do this. It's foolishness.
I don't know, and I have no proof that the parents had any influence in that whatsoever.
Ken, you have no proof for your point. If anything, you're insulting your own intelligence by going off of an assumption that you can't prove.
Oh, snap! Nigga's got a point.
You know what I find sad about all this is it was done over 20 years ago, and it sounds just as relevant today. So the sad part I think about that is that we haven't come very far because the kids of her age are still having to deal with these same issues that girl talked about. So what have we done in 20 years? We've just left a bigger mess for another generation. And that's the point she was trying to get across, is stop leaving a mess for the next generation. We're kids, we've got all this stuff to deal with. Stop leaving it for the next generation. Period.
Yeah, it's just like an abusive relationship and the cycle that continues and continues and continues from generation to generation, and we got to stop it. And that's where we're coming into this. This is where we're saying, like, my parents and grandparents should have done something about it, but they didn't.
Oh, and Ken,
and it's up to us to do it. But they definitely instilled us with the right.
I'm gonna come at this from a different angle, Ken. If her parents did put her up to it, isn't it good to hear? Do you think maybe it could have inspired somebody within that room to maybe do something? And if it did, and it did some good, which it obviously hasn't, because things are still the same.
And everybody's going to grow up with their parents' morals or understanding or influence. I mean, that's just the part of nurturing that gets you to out of the nest to the point where you can.
Weird.
Yeah, Ken booted you from the group, so I added you back.
Why do that? No, I'm just curious.
Oh, I noticed you changed your profile picture there, Fox. Just figured I would just maybe show you who's boss.
Oh, that's so cute. Now I'm gonna fix that.
Well, I can understand. I can understand Ken's point of view in one aspect, as in there are a lot of bad parents out there these days that use their kids, and it is a bad thing. I mean, especially when you look at these beauty pageants for children. I mean, that is just really, really sick, the abuse.
Absolutely.
But in this particular occasion, we're talking a different avenue altogether. I mean, if they were teaching her to rob a bank or mug people, then you're talking about a bad thing. But because they're actually teaching her to stand up for herself, stand up for her rights, stand up for the whole planet, I would say let them keep doing it. Because if it's something right, then they should be allowed to keep doing it.
Yeah, for sure. Of all the things they could be teaching her, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, what that's like saying, oh, my kid's a hockey player, and what is that the same? Like, the parents often drive their kids to be hockey players, but I don't know. I've seen kids driven in lots of things, and sports are one of them, and there's lots of different places, and academically as well, and that's what parents do. Up until a certain age, that's what they do.
So, Ken, I think it's honestly, you said that it's disturbing that we don't see a problem with it, correct?
Yeah. That's kind of my that's kind of my contention. I just think it's terrible. I just think it's terrible when kids are used in that manner. All right.
And I can understand where you're coming from, but you also said you would not act because of how the message was delivered, correct?
I discount the whole message when I see something as wrong as that.
Maybe. I'm gonna.
I tend to ignore the entire thing when I witness something like that because I think it's wrong. You see it done so many times with kids in foolish political campaigns. Let's say Bob Dole for president, or Obama for president, or gun control, or whatever the cause of the day is. Help us fight terrorism. Do it for the children. And you get a little cute little 12-year-old girl up there is spouting stuff that she was, spouting stuff that she was really spoon-fed and just told to regurgitate on cue.
And you know what?
I find that insulting and wrong.
I can kind of agree with your point of view, but you shouldn't discount the message. You should judge it on your own. I go back to don't shoot the messenger.
It wasn't delivered by the person who made the message or the person who had those thoughts. It wasn't delivered by those people.
You still haven't.
They chose that vehicle, the 12-year-old child. They chose that vehicle as the deliverer of the message.
You still haven't shown me a shred of evidence to prove your point.
Hey, you're starting to sound like Crowley.
Yeah, in fact, I remember back then. I was around back then, and I remember that when she did that speech, and her dad didn't want her to do it.
So,
and
on top of that, the message is right.
I think it was for exactly the same reasons you're saying. He didn't want it to look like he was using his daughter for his objectives, because Dr. Suzuki was pretty smart guy, and he had objectives, and he didn't want to jeopardize that by using his daughter.
Plus the example's different. Plus the example's different. I mean, using children, vote for Bob Dole, vote for this guy for president, for all those political agendas. Yeah, I admit, that is really bad. I don't like that.
But
at the end of the day, when somebody's steering a child towards saying some of the most profound stuff in the world, which she did, that was common sense, that was straightforward logic, then I don't care how the message was delivered. It was a beautiful message, and I heard it.
Well, Buzz, I'm going to actually have to disagree with you on one thing. Just because you don't agree with the message doesn't justify the delivery, but I do agree.
You see, here's the thing. If Buzz didn't like that message, then he would be in total agreement with me.
But
on what actually happened there.
Ken, let me ask you this: is it wrong for a parent to teach a child morality or common sense or logic?
Absolutely not. It is not. It is actually
teach a kid anything.
It's the parent's duty to teach that child morality, right from wrong, decency.
And that's what they did.
Obviously, she was being taught. If she hadn't already been taught and did that on her own, she was being taught.
She was taught to regurgitate what she was told to say. And
that's your opinion. You have no proof. That is just your opinion. And no matter how many times you say it, I'm never going to believe it.
Unless I hear it straight from the horse's.
And like I just told you, I can remember a story back when that happened. I'm pretty sure that her dad didn't want her to do it because of the repercussions to his reputation.
Let's settle it right now. I'll go on Google and I will check on it. What's the person's name?
Well, that's Dr. Suzuki's daughter, is it not? Yes.
I'm finished talking about it, but you asked me what I thought. I told you what I thought. You didn't like it.
Oh.
You know who Dr. Suzuki is?
Well,
I don't know. I know Dr. Kawasaki. I know Dr. Honda. I know Dr. Yamaha, but Suzuki, no, I'm afraid not.
Well, then, yeah.
well,
Go back to sleep then.
you know, Ken, I'm glad you gave your opinion because it did give us a discussion. And that's what I look for from these. I want a discussion.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter whether we dislike your opinion on the situation. It does give us a bit of the old curiosity to question why you feel that way. So it does make it for discussion. That's what communication's all about.
Yeah, and I'm glad you.
But it wouldn't be much of a discussion if we all agreed, would it?
No, I'm glad you disagreed, Ken.
Yeah. Whenever I agree with too many, no, I'm not. No, honestly, every time I see it, every time that I see that happen, that sad state of affairs happen, where a child is being manipulated, and in the just like the instances I gave you before, every single time, it just bugs me because I've it's the reason that the child is chosen for that kind of delivery is because you're supposed to get the what do you call it? They're tugging at the heartstrings. They're asking you to use your emotion, your feelings, as opposed to your logic.
I'm having a flashback, actually. Dr. Suzuki was going to give that speech himself, and his daughter accepted the opportunity to do it instead. That's what happened.
Oh.
He was going to give that, and she wanted to. I don't know how she got into doing it. So you're right. Whatever. I'm pretty sure she wanted to do it. She accepted the challenge willingly. I'm pretty sure.
Hey, Ken. Are you blocking Fox?
No.
Okay, because it won't add him back in.
It won't. Have you tried? Let me see. Boom. Boom.
Let me try it again.
All right, Chuggy.
Hi. Thanks, BC, for getting me in.
You rejoined the call. My Skype program just crashed.
Okay. Hey, Chug, sorry about the delay.
That's okay, man.
Oh, and by the way, Chug, we're live recorded.
That's fine. Thanks for the heads up on that.
Yeah, I think we already let loose a couple of F-bombs.
Although, Ken, I'm very proud of you. You've been on your best behavior.
Yeah. So you guys want to talk about something else? Talk about something else. But I'm finished. I'm finished with that subject. You guys are going to look at it one way, and I'm going to look at it in another way.
Yeah, you're cynical, depressing. I want to blow my face off right in front of my keyboard, blood all over my 23-inch screen way.
Nah,
fuck. And just found some stuff on her. Just so you know, she went on in life to continue on that path she started out on as a little girl. In fact, she became an environmental activist, speaker, television host, and author. She's spoken around the world about environmental issues, urging listeners to define their values, etc. She did go on to follow in that path. So, to me, that tells me that some of this really had come from her heart. She meant it, and who cares if she has some coaching to polish up her speech? I think this girl meant it.
She was following in her dad's footsteps.
Well, I think we just found out recently that her father wrote that for her, pretty much, right? Isn't that correct, Stone? Her father was going to deliver that speech.
Yeah, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
I'm just going from memory, but I'm trying to remember how it worked.
Yeah, but anyways,
but we don't know that.
Hey! She might have wrote that speech, and she did it instead of him. It was at a conference.
Yeah.
Where he was supposed to give a speech, and he was so insulted because nobody was fucking listening. Nobody would fucking listen to him. We're talking a top fucking scientist, and oh, jeez, sorry. Yep. There I go.
Stone, you're good.
Yep. Sorry.
You're good. You're good. Trust me. Ken's done far worse here.
No, but well, the thing is, he was a top scientist, and the world wasn't listening to him, and he was disgruntled, and that's why she did that. And I don't know if he wrote it or if she wrote it, but I imagine they wrote it together.
And it definitely sounds like she really wanted to
No,
help
if
her
you
dad
read
out.
her, she raised the money herself to go there. She was part of a child activist group, and they raised the funds to go to that meeting so they could get up in front of them and talk. It's right here in her biography.
Oh, more burns. And you do realize, though, in the end, A, you're wrong, and B, this is why we're having a real hard time moving forward as a civilization. Because we just argued for an hour about whether it was mommy and daddy's idea or if it was the kids. It's quite irrelevant, though, isn't it?
No,
Yeah,
no, it is actually quite relevant, and I'm surprised that you guys don't see it.
I think it's irrelevant because, like you said, if we would have objected if it was a different message, well, sure. If it was a stupid, nasty, bad message, yeah, I would have objected. I would have held the parents accountable. And in this point, she gave a beautiful speech and a message to the world. And if that was her parents' fault, amen.
Well, I can understand Ken's point of view, and on some kind of note, I agree, but the message is clear and it's a good message. So I don't have a problem with it.
One thing that I'd like to say about conversation that would make all conversations go a lot better. This was Ken's opinion versus our opinion. Now, Ken is not wrong, but neither are we. They're opinions. There's no wrong or right with opinions. They're opinions. It's beliefs. What people believe, whether it's wrong or right, is down to the moral guidance of the people and your own individual knowing what's right and wrong. So if we was to stop telling people that they're wrong for having an opinion and tell them what's wrong with their belief instead, if their belief has proof against it to be wrong, then we'd get along a lot better in conversations.
So what's the point in arguing over our differences? Rather, agree to disagree and agree on what we can agree upon so that we can move towards the greater whole, rather than breaking down in this destructive group dynamic, needing to see wrong in our wrongs. There's going to be no change if we're busy looking at our imperfections rather than, well, I guess I'm talking myself in circles. Kind of like what we've been doing for the past hour.
What are you talking about? I've never been wrong. Oh, that's okay.
But you see,
I stand corrected. I was wrong one time. I thought I was wrong, and it turned out I was right. So,
I'd like to give you guys an extreme example, okay? And I think it'll illustrate my point better than anything, okay? What if that 12-year-old child had gotten up in front of a crowd of people and delivered a wonderfully eloquent speech concerning the rightness and the wonderfulness of pedophilia, and you knew that she was being she was being spoon-fed this wonderful speech about how right pedophilia is. Would you then feel the same if the message was changed, but the circumstances were the same? I think you guys would be more in agreement with me.
That is
Absolutely, because you're talking about morals. The girl's message was morally correct. If it had been paedophilia, it had been morally wrong.
Now I would want her parents in jail. And so you're comparing fruit and vegetables. You're not even
my analogy is far more accurate than the one that. Because the ideas weren't
And there is a bus coming, and you better get out of the way. But because a kid told you to, you said fuck off.
My analogy was far more accurate and more true to life than Buzz's was.
No, both of the analogies were probably just as on point. But in response to your point, Ken, there's a difference between somebody teaching good and somebody teaching bad. If somebody taught a kid to get up on stage and speak on the good advantages of pedophilia, of course we'd have a problem with it. But because
let me just say, I don't believe in teaching. I believe in showing and learning. So, if you see somebody that's doing bad, you know the parents are bad too. You can almost guess it.
But Ken, because
if you see somebody doing good, you know the parents are good.
But because the message is good, and because it's a good message, and wow, that was redundant. But because they're teaching good, why do you have a problem with them teaching morality and good?
It's the parents' job to teach their children morality and right from wrong. I absolutely have no problem with that. That's exactly the way it should be. Parents teaching their children right from wrong, how to think for themselves and do these things. But when you're using your child as a mouthpiece, golly, that in itself is wrong. It shows me that the parents have not learned right from wrong.
But
that's what it shows me.
But what if you heard it from her lips that she chose to do that of her own free volition, yeah? And she saved up to do it to help her dad out because they weren't listening to him. If you heard that from her lips, would you then accept the message?
Against her father's wishes, perhaps. Who knows? I'm not sure.
Oh dear, let's move on to something
else.
This is obviously
in
not.
In that regard, I have a question for you before we move on. If it was of her own free will, at what age is it accepted, the things that she is saying? At 16, she's a child, so therefore, but at 18, it was... So I'm confused, because it was of her own free will, obviously, but because she's a child, Ken doesn't exactly agree with this. Not until she's, like, maybe 18.
He doesn't agree with it because he believes that the parents coaxed her into doing it.
They spoon-fed her this. They spoon-fed her this, and they put the words in her mouth. Taught her to recite them and spit them out on command.
I'm still waiting for your proof.
Her father is one of the leading environmentalists in Canada.
Yeah.
Mother is an author.
What do you
say there was an influence in her life.
Ken, what do you think they talked about around the dinner table?
Okay.
This is all this girl knew. It would be like if your dad was a hockey player. Guess what you're gonna do? Or if
what
your
you're
dad's
likely.
a mechanic. Guess what you're gonna be?
Absolutely correct. Okay.
What are we talking about?
Oh, a piece of propaganda bullshit that these guys are in love with.
That little girl at the UN?
Correct.
Yeah, she's got nothing on the girl that does the speech at the end of the graduation ceremony. You seen that one?
Have you got a link, Trolley?
I haven't at the moment. I can just picture it now. I've seen it.
Can you remember the title? We can YouTube it or Google it if you can remember what the title was.
No, but it would be something to do with at the graduation.
Hey, Steve.
Girl speaks at graduation, or girl speaks truth at graduation, or something.
So.
Greetings, people.
Hey, Steve. How long you been here?
Points out that the schooling system's totally fucked. I mean, not working properly.
Nah, you're good to say whatever you want, Trolley. However you want to put it.
Charlie, do you remember what year this was, dude?
No, I don't actually.
So, Charlie, did
Couple
you get?
years back.
Sorry, did you get a chance to watch the video?
Of the girl at the UN.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it today, no, but I have seen it a few times before.
What do you think of it?
I'm with Ken.
Of course you are.
I think it was a put-up job.
No matter who's putting out propaganda, it's wrong, and Charlie sees through it. Thank you, Charlie.
Oh, I agree that propaganda's wrong on both sides of the fence. I think we're all in agreement on that. But
yeah, man, the propaganda, dude, it's totally like better world propaganda. Seriously, like stay away from that shit. It's as bad as like fascism propaganda, right? Totally.
Being spoon-fed, having things forced down your throat is wrong whenever. But but we have no proof either way, so it's really a non-issue. We have no proof either way.
We do have to an extent, Dylan, in that we know that the United Nations is a bankers-owned criminal organisation. So for them to be allowing it to occur in their forum means that they're quite okay with it. If they're okay with it, I'm not.
You know something? I wasn't even thinking of that angle. You're 100% right on that.
Honestly?
Plus, you have to actually look at cause and effect. I mean, most of the time when we talk about propaganda normally has a motive, a reason for the propaganda being pushed in the first place. So, please, Ken, Charlie, tell me what the negative happening was to that.
That's what I'm saying.
It might have just been to bring some people out of the woodwork. They might have been searching around to find some people that would agree with that sort of thing because they want to step on them.
Dude,
that's a possibility.
That is a possibility.
That is a possibility.
That's bullshit.
But just because it's a possibility doesn't mean it's an actuality.
No, somebody pointed that out to me the other day. Anybody can say that everything or anything is possible. The question to ask is it reasonable?
I honestly, Charlie, I think it is reasonable to think that, but we also have to have evidence for that. And I do kind of agree with your angle that you had just brought up earlier, but
the problem is that you have no proof.
Well, he gave us a little bit, which, all right, that's some proof.
Not really. I mean, there's no validatable evidence given.
Well, Fox, I don't think you were here when Charlie got in here the first time to bring up his proof.
I haven't talked about proof at all.
Well, your reasoning.
I mean, we saw just what was it during the first Gulf War? We saw a girl get up in front of the UN and give that statement how babies were being, I believe it was bayoneted or thrown out of incubators.
That wasn't.
And later on, we find out afterwards. Once again, it was propaganda.
That wasn't a little kid. That was a grown-up talking about that, Ken.
But she had the same effect. She was spoon-fed this information. She delivered it emotionally. The vehicle, and we found out later that it wasn't true. So
she was the Kuwaiti ambassador's daughter.
Correct.
In regards allegations being made about a country to justify war, this speech being made is to justify cleaning up after yourself so your kids don't have to suffer. Actually,
this propaganda agrees with your position, so you just want to make sure that it gets out there. You don't care about the honesty of the message or the delivery.
Well, no, the message is honest. That's what I'm saying.
We don't know that.
You mean you don't know that the things she's saying are true? Don't affect our kids?
I can't really comment at the moment. I'd need to watch the video again.
Oh man, you don't even know what you're talking about. Oh,
Exactly.
oh man.
That's what I just said.
I give up. I'm going to kill myself right now.
If you listen for a minute, that's what I just said.
I'm dead. You see, I committed suicide. Fuck y'all.
And on that note, we're changing topics.
Thank goodness.
Changing topics.
Hey, Buzz, did you see that Steve posted that video? Oh, you've seen it? Yeah, you did.
So, anyone else got a topic in mind?
What did Trolley just have for lunch?
Something computer related. No, hacking.
No, it was something vegetarian or vegan.
Exactly.
See? I can see you through your computer, Trolley.
So, Trolley, you refuse to eat meat of any kind?
Absolutely any kind whatsoever. Anything from an animal. No honey, no butter, no milk, no cheese. Nothing from an animal.
May I ask why? I'm just curious.
Because I believe that anything from an animal is toxic. I honestly believe I've done some pretty in-depth study, and I'm absolutely convinced that human beings are herbivores. We are not the so-called omnivores that everybody claims. We are. I mean, you could probably call us an omnivore in the because we can actually survive on stuff that is not meant to be our food. But you've only got to look at every other creature on this planet. They have their set food. They have their set diet.
Well, one thing
you don't believe in evolution.
One thing you can look at too is teeth. I knew this when I was younger. A study showed just from the teeth, humans were not made to eat meat. We don't have meat in teeth.
Well, so here's the thing. You don't believe in any form of evolution, so I can't really put it out there to you in a way you'll understand that if we're not omnivores, we're not. How is it that we can survive off of both?
We were supposed to graze. Our intestines, our entire body, our teeth, everything was designed for grazing.
Exactly. We've got alkaline saliva, where carnivores have acid saliva. Carnivores have giant stomachs because they are meant to basically only eat once a week or so. Their stomachs take up to 40% of their body when they're fully distended, full of food.
Well,
their digestive tract is extremely short because they know the Creator knew that if you keep toxic stuff inside a body too long, it'll rot and make you sick, which is what is happening to the human race. But animals know better than that. They take the meat, they eat it, and then they spit it out.
Well, I'm mostly a vegetarian.
There's a really interesting video from the Vegetarian Society of Hawaii. It's a Negro fella talking about the differences between human beings and carnivores and herbivores. It's a really good video. He explains in a lot of detail all the things that prove beyond any doubt that human beings are herbivores. We were created as herbivores and we're supposed to live as herbivores. Okay, I believe that since the flood happened, things have changed, so our diet has had to change because people have decided to live in places like Iceland and Canada, where human beings are not meant to live.
Yeah, well, some truth to that. But yeah, no, I eat meat, but I understand that. I knew that a long time ago. Exactly what you're saying. I heard it years ago. Oh, geez, decades ago.
Well, I honestly believe that we could live until we're 150 years of age, even in this decrepit state that we are now, if we only ate raw fruit, vegetables, nuts, grains, and seeds. If we ate no meat at all, I mean, it's proved by the number of tribes around the world that don't eat meat or eat very little.
The oldest living people live in a tribe in way up in Siberia somewhere, and that's pretty much their diet.
Yeah, well, there's the Hunter Indians in the Himalayas. They live to, well, they're still fathering children when they're 110. And,
these people live past 100, all of them. 100's like average. That's just normal age.
And they live on fruit and vegetables. They don't eat meat. And they don't drink milk.
Yeah, but they also have no stress in their life.
Trying to
help.
There's no money, no nothing. It's just it's totally a stress-free life that they live.
You know, it's like things like we feel the cold, and yet if you go to places, some places where the kids are eating the natural diet around where they live, they can go swimming in ice water and it doesn't really bother them. You know, they've got to be careful and everything. They can't go over the top and be ridiculous. But they can do all sorts of things that we can't do because we've turned ourselves into, well, what, jelly babies.
Hey, Rob.
Hey,
Rob, what's going on?
Hey, this is a live Branefood roundtable.
Oh, good. But I put a little comment on your thing saying that the sound levels are not right.
Oh, they're not?
Yeah, they're not great.
Where?
On your round table.
Huh. I don't see that. Let's see, number 2. No, I don't see that, Rob. Where'd you put it?
Let me take you back. That's a different chat.
The sound levels are coming in fine over here.
No, but I listened to it on YouTube the other day.
Oh, a different one.
And I could hear you at full volume and everybody else at like muted 10%.
Yeah, we were having problems with the audio for the first couple.
Okay, cool.
But, we got through a bunch of different topics, Rob. Right now we're talking about being vegetarian, basically. You got any comments on that?
I'm not vegetarian, so
neither am I.
I'm out of this conversation.
Yeah, I'm kind of just listening.
I'll let you guys know I did have a delicious breakfast burger here. It's got ham. No, actually it has bacon, eggs, a beef patty, and tater tots on one bun. It was delicious.
I had a burger once that had bacon, peanut butter, and jelly on it.
Dang.
It was amazing.
I might have to try that.
A burger.
Bacon peanut butter used to be a flavor. They used to have mixed flavors, and I can remember they had bacon peanut butter was one of them.
Yeah, bacon, peanut butter, and jelly, and it was this massive burger. It was
They used
delicious.
to put them in one jar.
It was delicious.
They used to sell peanut. Anybody remember that? They used to sell peanut butter in a jar, and it was swirled, and they were mixing. They'd put jam, jelly, or whatever with peanut butter. You could buy different kinds of peanut butter, and one of them was bacon. Bacon, peanut butter.
Bacon, peanut butter. God, the human race has got a lot to fucking answer for. I mean,
No, but peanut butter is not. If you actually know, go buy a bag of peanuts and put them in your blender and keep it on high for about 10 minutes. You'll end up with butter. There is no peanut butter. Peanuts.
Well, maybe you're just doing it wrong.
No, peanuts, if you stick them in a blender for long enough, any sort of mixed nuts, it will go into a butter because of the oil in the nut. So you cannot make peanut butter. Peanut butter is from mashed up nuts. That's it. Period. Full stop. Oil. If you carried on, it would get thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner until it was like a Budweiser.
And peanut oil. I do a thing called oil pulling, and at the moment I'm actually using peanut oil, mainly because there was a bottle left in the pantry and I'm just using it up. But I find it a good method for cleaning out my mouth and teeth in the morning, first thing in the morning. And they do claim that it works as a to remove a lot of toxins from the body.
Well, I think I'm gonna end this stream for the time being. Do you all want to do this again tomorrow?
Why don't you ask us tomorrow?
Ask in the morning. Just come onto the group and ask in the morning.
Will do. Alright, for now you've been listening to this Truth Speaks and Branefood. This was a lot more tame than I thought it would be, but...
Why, is that why you're shutting it down? You're bored?
Nah, that's not why I'm shutting it down. I'm shutting it down because I kind of want to take a break. But no, I'm not bored. If anything, I could get Ken into another argument.
It was not an argument. I was just explaining my position. That's
yeah,
all.
he was expressing his opinion.
You're...
It's like I said, we've all got to, like, when people give opinions, we've all got to stop saying you're wrong. Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's an opinion.
Well, wrong, Buzz, I think people use the phrase "you're wrong with opinions" kind of as a hyperbole.
Yeah, they shouldn't. At the end of the day, Ken's opinion is Ken's opinion. My opinion's my opinion. The only right or wrong within it would be the moral standing.
Good
and that's for everyone to judge themselves.
Good on you, Snow. You've hit it right on the money.
That's Buzz.
Cheers, Rob.
An opinion is an opinion. People say to me, can you give me your advice on this? And I say, never. I can give advice. The only thing I can give is my opinion. I can't give advice. Can I give my opinion?
I can go into the workshop and rip my advice off the workbench, and I can give people advice.
Yeah, but what does advice do? It just crushes your opinion.
Oh man, don't put your opinion in advice. That could hurt.
You don't want to put your balls in advice. Okay, remember that. But I was watching, I don't know whether somebody saw my post last night. I was watching this woman called Venus Williams playing tennis.
You mean that bloke called Venus Williams?
The bloke, yeah.
That's Vince. That's Vince Williams.
He's actually been so proven that he's a bloke that it's unbelievable. But he's sitting there. This guy called Venus Williams is sitting there.
Venus Williams?
Venus Williams is sitting there with
oh my God.
Everybody's sitting there with two balls in his hands.
You did shut this down, Dylan, didn't you?
No.
He's standing there. No, you got to get this, guys. He's standing there. He is standing there with 2 balls in his hands.
Oh my.
Ready to serve. Ready to serve.
All right. I'm shutting it down. We're signing out.
No, keep it going. Keep it going.
All right.
Come on, this is Venus Williams holding 2 balls in his hands, dressed as a woman, serving the court. Come on. Where are we going with this?
Yes.
I'd like your opinion on this one, Trolley. Ken? Steve?
You don't want Ken's opinion.
We always want Ken's opinion. Ken's opinion is worth gold. It's liquid gold.
like beer.
Well, perhaps because it was being televised, he thought he might be able to flirt with Michael Obama.
You've got to actually, if this is going out live, everybody should YouTube and type in Michael Obama or Michelle Obama is a man and watch that analysis done by the 2 forensic experts in America who study the body language, the bone structure and the skeleton structure.
Actually, the one on Serena Williams, the YouTube's called Serena Williams. No, This Is the World or something. You know, it's about how she's ripped off the whole world with her thing, and they actually show at the start of their documentary. They show at the Olympics where Serena had just won the gold medal and the flag falls down. Have you seen that?
No, I've seen no.
At the ceremony, and actually, if you go through to the end of the documentary, they play it again, but this time you actually hear Bruce McAvaney, who's an Australian commentator, and he was a commentator at the games, and he actually says, "Well, that's a fitting symbol of the end of these games," or something like that. He says you can tell that he knows that there's been a big rip-off done here, because just as they're playing the United States national anthem, with Serena standing on the winner's podium, right when the national anthem gets to the bit about the flag actually, the American flag falls down from its where it's being held up and falls down onto the ground. So somebody set it up.
That one.
Hey, listen, I was just thinking about this. You know, a few weeks ago, Joan Rivers made a comment about how everybody knows that Michelle Obama is a man, right? Hey, how's Joan Rivers looking today? Huh? See? Obama got back at her.
No, well, she's a river, so she's money anyway.
She said something she wasn't supposed to say. That was only a month ago that she made those comments.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about that. Look at her today. She's not doing so hot, huh?
No,
and some of them, they do have big insurance policies out on them, and some of them are worth more dead than alive.
All right.
Yeah, well, they're considering pulling the plug on Joan Rivers.
Does that mean she'll finally shut up?
But we have the videos, Ken.
Now, why would she have a name called River anyway if she wasn't full of money?
That's not her name, Robert. You know that's not her name. Look it up.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
5 minutes on Google, Rob.
Is it Picklestein?
Okay, tell me what's the name.
Did you say Picklestein? Because she definitely looked like she'd been pickled.
All right, I think I'm gonna shut it down.
No, you have this woman called Joan Collins as well. Why were they called Joan? If it's not Jonas, if it's not Joan of Arc.
Alright, we're signing.
It's like, come on, it's Joan of Arc.
Alright,
You may have noticed, Dylan, that there is a lot of material to cover here, so that's enough for now, but we can come back.
Yeah, we can surely come back. I'm sure these discussions are not gonna go anywhere. Alright, this time we might actually be signing out.
What?
Okay, brother.
All right, good night.
Alright.